Hello guys, welcome back to Archive Ryzen. Currently we have Eatchel the Cup banner, also Acasia Kaguya and Mauxir Shadow's rerun banner. Also in the next update, based on the banner order, we might get Tess the Magician and Changing Ethereal Cloud rerun banner. So basically, there is 4 support operative banner in a row. If you're confused about who to choose, in this video I'm gonna explain a little bit which support operative you should choose based on the main DPS that you have. So the first one, let's start with Acasia Kaguya. So Acasia Kaguya is a debuffer and crowd control support operative that can be very flexible to use, so you can team her up with any main DPS that you want, due to her support skill that can reduce all elemental type resistance. So there will be no restriction when come to her support skill. But because her signature weapon Pine Aurora have the ability to increase active operative frost elemental damage that make her highly synergy with frost elemental main DPS, for example Mauxir Meow, Rifle Wild Hunt or Katia Blue Bolt. Because frost main DPS can fully utilize all of her capabilities on her signature weapon. But if you equip her with other free-to-play weapon, for example AA Captain, where this weapon only able to decrease enemy frost elemental resistance, this will cause her only able to team up with frost main DPS in order to fully utilize her weapon capabilities. But in other hand, if you equip her with other free-to-play weapons, Prismatic Igniter, this one can also make her able to team up with any main DPS. But the downside is Prismatic Igniter unable to activate her manifestation too. While for her logistic, if you use her recommended logistic Twilight Squad that only able to reduce the enemy elemental resistance based on the user skill element, that means it will be another frost elemental resistance only. This Twilight Squad also make her only able to team up with frost main DPS in order to fully bring out her capabilities. But because currently, you can also buy Amarna Squad in the event shop, it is more recommended to use Amarna Squad for her, because here is the comparison. Here is the calculation to compare both of AA Captain and Prismatic Igniter, also the Twilight Squad and Amarna Squad. And also in here, we will use Rifle Wild Hunt as a frost main DPS with tier 2 weapons for this calculation. And in this left side is a Rifle Wild Hunt who use Tebe Squad, while in the right side is a Rifle Wild Hunt who use Amano Iwato Squad. So let's compare between Twilight Squad and Amarna Logistic Squad first, by using the II Captain weapons. Here is the total elemental resist reduction from Acacia support skill after reach manifestation 2, II Captain weapon skill, and Twilight Squad logistic skill. After Acasia Kaguya use her support skill, Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS will be this much. Now we're gonna write it down here. And the next one is we change her logistic squad to Amarna Squad. Amarna Squad can provide ballistic damage by 30% for full squad and 20% attack percent for the active operative. Then when Kaguya use her support skill, Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS will become this much. You can see that when Acacia equipped with Twilight Squad, Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS is lower than Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS when Acacia equipped with Amarna Squad. Because Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS mostly come from her shooting DPS, and the ability of Amarna Squad to buff ballistic damage are highly synergy with shooting damage. That is what makes Amarna Squad able to surpass Twilight Squad in terms of damage amplifier. So it is more recommended to use Amarna Squad for Acasia Kaguya, and you can use Twilight Squad for her alternative logistic squad. Now because we already know that Amarna Squad are better than Twilight Squad, next let's compare II Captain and Prismatic Igniter weapon. First, let's record this one as a II Captain weapon buff for Rifle Wild Hunt, and because Prismatic Igniter unable to trigger Acasia Kaguya manifestation 2, that cause her support skill only able to reduce 24% enemy elemental resist. So the Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS will become this much. You can see that when Acacia equipped with II Captain weapons, Rifle Wild Hunt total DPS is lower than the total DPS when Acacia equipped with Prismatic Igniter. So this one shows that Prismatic Igniter tier 5 are better than II Captain tier 5. So if you are free-to-play players, it is better to equip Prismatic Igniter for Acasia Kaguya because it will make Acasia Kaguya become more flexible so she can team up with any main DPS, and also she can give more damage amplifier for your main DPS. While II Captain is the alternative choice if you didn't have Prismatic Igniter. So in summary, Acasia Kaguya can pair up with any main DPS, however, the choice of weapons she uses may affect which main DPS work best alongside her. And the next one is Mauxir Shadows. Mauxir Shadows is a damage amplifier while also have an ability to provide static target that connect to enemy for you to shot. So it can make you more easier to defeat any fast movement enemy. Also the KB set she provide from her support skill can also become alternative weak spot for you to deal crit damage to the enemy. So you can use it for enemy that like to hide their weak spot, for example Spider Mech or Eatchel. Due to her signature weapons can provide crit damage amplifier, also her Dewa skill can guarantee a crit shot every 10 seconds that can also provide crit damage amplifier by a large amount. She is highly synergy with a slow fire rate but have a very solid damage or very high crit damage operative, for example Bolt Action Sniper user Yao Winter Solstice. Because Bolt Action Sniper have 100 crit damage, that make it highly synergy with Mauxir Shadow's crit damage amplifier buff. But what about Marian Swift who also use Bolt Action Sniper? Will she highly synergy with Mauxir Shadows or not? The answer is not as synergy as Yao Winter Solstice, because Marian Swift are likely to use her standard skill, but her standard skill unable to deal crit damage toward KB set, that make Marian Swift unable to fully utilize Mauxir Shadow's capabilities. But that doesn't mean Marian are not suitable to team up with Mauxir. The recommended main DPS that can utilize Mauxir Shadow's ability is all shooting dependent operative who have a high crit rate and can deal crit damage when shooting KB set. Based on Mauxir Shadow's manifestation 1, it will be sniper and shotgun, where the weapon user are guaranteed to deal crit damage when shooting KB set. And for pistol user is only 50-50 when shooting at KB set, while for assault rifle and submachine gun user only get low crit rate when shooting at KB set. So for assault rifle and submachine gun, it is better to shoot directly to the enemy weak spot if the enemy have the weak spot, in order to guarantee dealing crit damage, so it will be better than shooting at the KB set. While for skill dependent operative like Haru and Frithahas are not really recommended because skill can't deal crit damage, so it kinda waste for Mauxir Shadows to team up with skill dependent operative, unless you don't have a strong build Yao or other strong shooting dependent operative to team up with Mauxir Shadows. Also for Katia Clan, even though she is a shooting dependent operative but she can't deal crit damage, so she almost like skill dependent operative. The only difference is that she can also get the ballistic buff from Amarna Logistics Squad when Mauxir using her support skill, so Katia Clan can get more benefit than skill dependent operative. Overall, the conclusion is Mauxir Shadows are highly synergy with Yao Winter Solstice, but can also team up with other shooting dependent operative. While for skill dependent operative, you can use Mauxir Shadows as their support operative if you need a static target to use your main DPS skill, or when your Mauxir Shadows doesn't have any shooting dependent operative to team up with. And the next one is Eatchel the Cup, our newest support operative who can buff and heal at the same time. She is very useful support operative, especially when you want to deal with endgame content where struggle and survival is needed. For example, Paradoxical Labyrinth, because as a healer support operative, she can provide the best healing amount for your active operative. Meanwhile, as a damage amplifier, she can also provide a large amount of buff just like Acasia and Mauxir Shadows. But the problem is she is high cost operative, where not only you need her signature weapon, you will also need Tess Kotkin to boost up the time for her to use her ultimate skill. And because the buff she provides is flat attack buff from her signature weapons or ultimate skill, the Ice Cloud stack, she is really flexible operative that can team up with any main DPS. However, she is not really recommended with high cost ultimate skill dependent operative, for example Yao Winter Solstice or Frithahas. because in order to get her maximum capabilities, you will need 100 ultimate skill. Unless you have a very good build Tess Godkin, who have her signature weapons or maybe tier 2 signature weapons, also have a large amount of ultimate energy recovery stat from her logistic talent. So the conclusion is she is almost as flexible as Acasia Kaguya, but she is a high cost support operative to build. Unless you only want her healing ability as a support operative, you can pull for her. And the next one is Tess the Magician. Tess Godkin is a buffer and ultimate energy battery support operative who are very useful for operatives that have a very strong ultimate skill but have a very high cost ultimate energy, for example Yao Winter Solstice, Fritiahas, and Eatchel the Cup. Or maybe other operatives who have an useful ultimate skill but not really need Tess Godkin, for example Haru Absconditus, who have a strong ultimate skill but only have average ultimate energy costs. Or operatives that have a useful crowd control and debuff ultimate skill like Acasia Kaguya and Changing Ethereal Cloud. But most of the time, most players when using Yao Winter Solstice or Fritiahas oftenly will use Tess Godkin as a support operative, so they can use Yao Winter Solstice or Fritiahas ultimate skill as soon as possible for speedrun. This has proved how effective and necessary Tess Godkin as a powerful ultimate energy battery and highly synergy with Yao Winter Solstice and Fritiahas. So if you have Yao Winter Solstice or Fritiahas as a main DPS, or maybe you already pulled for Eatchel the Cup but you have trouble to use her ultimate skill in her maximal capabilities, hold your pull until the next update in order to pull for Tess Godkin is the best choice. So are you still confused about which one to choose based on the main DPS you have? I hope this video able to help you decide. I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Cheers.